All right, we're live. Manic Vandals Podcast, number 6. I'm the host of this podcast, Dave, aka Church, with my two partners in crime, Keith,
Yep, gigantic mean, yes.
gigantic mean, and Mike.
Hi, and my thing is I feel you in your room,
Yeah.
which sounds worse than it is. It's really two Depeche Mode songs mixed together, two titles of Depeche Mode songs mixed together.
Yeah, in a very strange combination.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I'm feeling like I'm really getting to know you tonight.
Yeah.
Yep, slowly but surely. I love it.
A lot has happened in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Fortunately, that part wasn't recorded, but that'd get us banned from Twitch probably. So, yeah, we'll keep it
we
under
don't
wraps.
want that. Nope.
Yeah, so we got a lot of news tonight. I guess just a brief rundown. We have a Mythic Qualifier announcement, and there's also a lot of news regarding Arena Alchemy, the big new thing coming to Magic Arena. And then if we get to it, there's another little thing we want to discuss regarding proxies.
Yes.
So hopefully we can get to that. If not, we'll save that for next time. So we can start with the Mythic Qualifier. Our resident limited expert has gotten through the gauntlet of getting to Mythic and Draft this month, which was particularly difficult because that's what all the drafters were trying to do this month in particular. So, Mike, the floor is yours. You can describe in detail what mental anguish you had to go through to get this achievement.
Thank you. I will be honest with you. I know we talked about the limited thing and like making it in the top 1200 the last time we were on. I forget if I mentioned like where I was at the moment. Oh yeah, we did talk about it. I think I was at 709 and I dropped to like 713, something like that. And that was a few days before, or it was like the day, whatever it was, doesn't matter. Things started going much more rapid as the days got closer. So just sort of the way it played out was, the higher up I got in the ranks, sort of like the faster it got, and of course as the days got closer and the hours got closer, the faster it got too. So this 2 days before was when I started getting really nervous.
Right.
I think I had dropped like 160 spots 2 days before. So I kind of knew that I was kind of in a dangerous spot. I will say that I sort of made the commitment to myself that I wasn't going to take the risk and play best of one because I just didn't want to lose and then really drop down and then try to have to make up for it by getting like 2 or 3 wins in a row, because that's just a losing gamble. Like, in a general sense in Magic, like if the best players in the world in best of one have a 65% win rate in Mythic, that's not good odds if you lose that first game and then have to go on a win streak. So
Right.
I kind of told myself I wasn't going to play. Deep down, I didn't think I was going to end up getting as close as I did to the cutoff. So the day before, so like meaning 39 hours to 15 hours before, I dropped, I think it was like almost 200 spots. So the final day, I was sitting there at like 9:40 at like midnight of the day before, so that was like 250 spots, and it went quick. It went really quick. in the final hour, I was already in the 1100s, and it
Wow.
was going quicker and quicker. Every time I would refresh it and see, like a big jump, it hurt me. It hurt me, but it got to the point where I told myself I was not going to play unless like I had to. Meaning, if there was still like half an hour left and I was already like 1190, I would play because like that's too much time. But it was like the perfect storm of it being a nightmare where I pretty much couldn't play and I had to like watch it happen. So with 8 minutes to go, it kept getting quick, but I think as the deadline was getting close, and I didn't know exactly how the deadline worked, and I kept asking during this whole time period. So with 8 minutes to go, I actually felt good because I was 1192 with 8 minutes to go, and Dala or Churge was watching, and he was watching with me, and I was like, yeah, I think I got this. Like I have to lose one a minute now. And then it got to 4 minutes and it was still 1192. And I was like, yes, I think we're good. I think we're good. And then uh the next minute, so with 3 minutes left, I was 1197. I was 1197 with 3 minutes to go. And those 3 minutes, they were pretty rough. I
Wow.
just kept refreshing it back and forth, and somehow, some way, I ended 1197. But I didn't know exactly how the cutoff point worked. I didn't know for sure if like games in progress counted after the fact or not.
Right.
Um, in hindsight, it sounded like they don't, but people were still saying like that number sometimes is an estimate. You don't necessarily that might not be your exact number at a given fraction of a moment type thing. So there were a lot of things that I was worried about. So they told me it looks like you're safe, but until you get that email and your arena client gives you the Mythic Championship badge,
Right.
you really don't know. So um, yesterday I got them. So I
Awesome.
made it in, and I'll be honest, there's a lot of streamers like pro level players, even if they're not actually pros per se, like full-time content creators, I should say. There's a
Right.
lot of people that didn't make it in, so I do feel fortunate. And I do feel like I don't know, for whatever reason, I do feel like I tend to try to make the prudent decision given the circumstances. So you know I felt like in this situation, because I knew how hotly contested this one was, because this Mythic Qualifier is a best of three tournament. I knew that limited was going to be very hard to make the top 1200, and I played the odds. I had a couple decks that were ready to go in the event that I would have to play, but I just didn't feel like I loved them enough, and I also didn't want to like resign them and then get into that battle of like redrafting, and then maybe that next deck is worse than the previous one in that event, and then I'd want to redraft again. So it kind of worked out. I feel like I made the right decision of not playing. I cut it very, very close. I don't know if I would do that again. If like it's like a similar circumstance, I might just play instead. But we'll see. But I am very happy to have qualified, because this one actually feels like a kind of a higher level or a more prestigious one to have qualified for um, as a limited player. So I am very happy, and I'm sure you will hear much more about the Mythic Qualifier when that time comes. So I think it's
Yeah.
like December 18th and 19th, or 19th and 20th. So
Oh, wow.
it's a couple weeks. So
So, well, yeah, and you probably don't want
we'll
to show
see.
your hand. Yeah, but you don't want to show your hand yet. But so best of three, have you got a deck that you're leaning toward?
Um, Honestly, I feel like because I was avoiding best of one, because best of one is only ranked. I
Right.
actually, when I was playing, I still haven't played anywhere near as much as I did for the previous set. But I feel like kind of like best of one, the draft portion still kind of goes the same, where you kind of want to stay open in pack one. you want to stick to bombs first, removal second, and then pick sort of like the glue cards, like the good uncommons and good commons that sort of fit in any deck, if possible, in that color. And then just try to open bombs and removal in your secondary color and just hope that a deck sort of plays out. So honestly, I think it's kind of the same as best of one. So I feel like the two colors that you really, again, it's not like Midnight Hunt. It's a little bit different, but I feel like the two colors or the two color pairs that are kind of like lower level, you really want to have bombs in them to go into those colors, are Simic and Selesnya. But you know, it still happens. I've been Selesnya numerous times. I tend to not end up in Simic very often unless it's more like I draft a Hullbreaker Behemoth and I want to ramp into it type thing. Because sometimes it just works out like that. But I feel like we're just going to see what happens in the draft. You know, black red vampires or black red spells with you know, a bunch of flame breathers are you know, top tier. There's a lot of you know, that's one of the things that's sort of grown on me in this set is I enjoy kind of just seeing what happens in the draft and making any color pair work because they pretty much all do. It's more like certain ones need higher requirements than other ones do, but like there's no deck that's just worse because generally if you're in a deck like a certain color pair, it's probably because you got a certain bomb to pull you there. So
Wow.
yeah, we'll see.
It's going to be good. I look forward to it. And I guess you're going to stream that out?
Maybe. I think it's possible. I'm not going to say no about it. I would say that's more Dave's area of expertise. So if he thinks so, then maybe we will.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, if you want to, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we would just put like the delay on it, and so, uh,
Right. Yeah,
uh,
because the sniping thing is real.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So we'll see.
But yeah, as far as like the like your ranking, it's like you couldn't have like written that to be any more ridiculous. Uh, like
Yeah.
you, like it like literally ticked down like perfectly to 3 spots away over like that period of time. Like what are the chances of that? Just seems like ridiculous.
Well, well, yeah, it was like hitting like a 60-foot putt. Yeah, we're like, I mean, you know, being honest, like I was keeping tabs on it. Like if it was projecting worse, I probably would have played sooner. I mean, that's the reason why I got to 541 to begin with, because with like 5 days to go, I was already 800 something. So I knew that wasn't going to work. So, you know,
Right.
winning those two games took me to 541. So I would have, you know, with enough time, I would have played when I had to. But I was taking you know, a close look at all the circumstances. Like when I did play, I made a point of playing that day because I knew Quick Draft had just come out, so I thought there would be like a little softer of an opponent pool of people that maybe wanted to use less gems. I wanted to try out the set that maybe didn't, and all that type of thing because I knew the season ending was gonna like make it hotly contested, uh, even as soon as the next day. So you know, I'm happy with all the things that I sort of like, you know, added to the decision making process, and
Right.
you know, yeah, it worked out, and you know, it's not always going to do that. But yeah, you're right. It kind of worked out insanely perfectly. I can only imagine what it's like for the person that's 1200th.
Yeah.
That must be crazy. Um, and yeah, I mean, they must have sort of followed the ticker at the same rate that I did, because when it was 1192 with 8 minutes to go or 4 minutes to go, I mean, that means they're 1196 and they dropped 5 spots, 97, 98, 99. Well, no, 11. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of wild.
Yeah, it is.
It was definitely stressful, but I was kind of at peace with just letting it play out. I might have had regrets if I did drop out a little bit. But I kind of figured the anguish of losing that late when I didn't have to play would have been worse. That would have hurt
Right.
worse.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because it would have made it if I didn't play. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, because and knowing in hindsight that I would have actually would have made it, really upsetting. So, but it's just Magic. But, um, when you're playing for a cool event like that as like a casual but you take it seriously type of player, it
Yeah.
does feel nice to get into like one of these cool, fun events. So
Yeah, it does.
yeah, it worked out. Hey, it worked out. I love it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I know you're tired of us like tooting your horn for you, but I mean, this is like another like pretty significant achievement.
It
Uh,
is.
like like that
Thanks.
this is the one that every draft player was like trying to get into.
Yeah.
For sure.
Uh, yeah, and you like trumped many a streamer who were like dying to get in. So,
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of interesting because I was watching. I do watch a lot of streamers. Like I'll put it on, just because it's a nice form of content to sort of take in, and it's a lot of like learning that you gain watching people draft and play.
Right.
And there were a lot of people that sort of like were resigned to their fate because I think they didn't. I think a lot of people played a lot when the set first came out, and because the set is very volatile as far as like I talked about it all the last time where like the bombs and then people not really like knowing the set too well yet. A lot of people's win rates weren't as high as they normally are. So a lot of streamers like they were stuck in the percentages where they would in theory would have had to have gone an insane win streaks
Yeah.
to even have a chance to get back up high enough. Um, and so watching all that stuff, I kind of knew like, if you're in an opportunity to maybe stay in, do what you got to do. And I still obviously think a lot of these streamers that I watch are better players than me. I mean, I've said that about limited too. There's so much to learn about limited, and it's an infinite number of decisions in every circumstance.
Yeah.
Um, so it does feel good though to like have an achievement. It's just like getting a trophy with a limited deck where sometimes you just have to live with the fact that a deck that you thought was amazing only got 6 wins because you didn't win that final match
Right.
type thing.
Yeah.
So this is almost like a mega sized trophy where like everything worked out right, the numbers worked out right, and I had the right strategy just like a game of Magic. And I had the right contingency plans in case certain things happened, and it worked out. So yeah, I'm happy about it for sure.
Oh yeah. It should be.
Thanks. So yeah, that's pretty much that. So the Arena Open happens soon as well. Isn't it, I feel like that's this weekend, or is it the next weekend?
I don't know.
hmm,
Um.
I don't know. There's like a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
It's the 4th and the 5th. So yeah, that's coming up soon as well. That is Saturday. Yeah, that's this Saturday and Sunday. So a lot of streamers right now are also ramping up for that. That's the one where day one you can enter as many times as you want. I think it's 5,000. I think it's 5,000 gems or 25,000 gold.
Is
But you
it
can keep
really?
yeah.
Oh,
And then if you get 7-2 or 4-0, depending if you do best of one or best of three, you get to day two, and day two is the one where if you get you get real cash if you get 6, 7, or 8 wins. Um, so a lot of people are now ramping up for that one. So yeah, big stuff. It's not the only big stuff, I guess, that's in the Magic world right now, though.
yeah. Um, I was interested in all that Arena Open talk until I realized it was that thing that costs like like $100 to get in, and then my interest just like fucking plummeted like drastically. Because it's like that's just like streamer stuff. Like I feel like just for like the common arena player, it's like I just feel like those are just such a mistake and like so like baity. But maybe that's just me.
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, I think the yeah, like the getting to day 2 seems very difficult, and I think the buyback is part of the allure that let's say you're a player like sort of like on my level, I guess. Like you take it seriously, and you can get some like level of success on Arena. It might be enticing to try, but being one of the people that get like the 8 wins on day 2, I mean that's like a long journey
Oh
to get
yeah.
to that point. I mean that might be like $100 total that you spend on day 1 for the chance, and then you might, hey, you never know, and I think that's what the premise is there. I don't know if this is also the first limited version of this too. So I don't know if this is generally a constructed thing.
Oh, it's
But
actually draft this time.
yeah, that's why I have slight interest in it.
Yeah, Arena
Yeah,
Open Draft. Yeah, that's right.
right. So I feel like
Interesting.
yeah, so in some ways like the buy-in part, it's definitely, it's like, 3 1/3 draft entries essentially. And of course, if you try it once and like you got a taste of almost getting 7 wins or 4 wins, you might want to try it again. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Although draft, it's like almost worse.
Yeah, I'm not
Uh,
doing.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
all you had to say.
yeah. You pay like $50 and then you get like a shit opening hand, and then you actually go to play and then you get all lands.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, well, see you later. Too bad.
Yeah.
Gotta,
But
The
so your
yeah,
top prize is 2,500.
the payout structure definitely seems rough. Like if you don't get the full trophy, 6 wins gets you 2,500 gems in best of 1. 3 wins in best of 3 get you 5,000 gems, so you get your entry back. The one thing I did hear is that I guess the gold price is cheaper than the gem price.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are saying that you should only enter with gold if possible, which makes sense, of course. So
yeah.
you know, if you get to if you get to day 2, the payout seems pretty good,
Yeah.
but that's an intense thing to get to. So
Yeah, I'd be throwing away my gold. That's all I would be doing.
Yeah, I would get I would go absolutely insane if I grinded arena for 25 days because you basically get like 1,000 gold a day.
Right.
Uh, yeah, so like just like playing 25 days, just like vanishing into nothing. Uh,
Yeah, I never looked at it like that, but you're right.
yeah, and I mean, hey, look, I mean, if people want to do it, hey, go for it.
Yeah.
And also, I'm being very pessimistic about the whole thing, so I'm sure it's not that bad, but it's still pretty rough bargain unless you like really want to do it. So, uh,
yeah, it's a tough call.
It is.
Um,
I think if it was a format that I was really cooking in, like Mike, yeah, I would consider it. But
yeah, if I was
like
dominant like Mike, I would do it.
yeah, I'd borrow.
I
Yeah.
I might do it. We'll see. I mean, see, the way I see it is it just sounds like a draft that's just 3 times the amount.
Yeah.
So,
It is.
like in some ways, I don't really view it quite as big of a hindrance, I guess. But then again, I mean,
Yeah,
I
but
feel like a lot of people are preparing for this, and you're kind of going against like serious players plus pros. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
interested in it, and it's like a measuring stick type thing, but I feel like that's like sort of the allure. So I don't know.
I
Yeah.
feel like the problem is if you do it once, like you sign up the first time and you get like a shit hand or whatever, it's like, oh well, I only lost because I got a shit hand, so I'll just sign up again. And then you're in this like fucking massive hole all of a sudden, like trying to get some like arbitrary thing that's like really hard to do anyway.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
even if everything goes your way, you still have to get 7 wins, which is uh it's like you have to get lucky and be really good. So I don't know.
Yeah, the best of three one is the one that seems kind of crazier. Because you have to get 4 wins. So like the basic trophy setup for best of one, you're still only it's like the exact same 7 wins or 3 losses, but in best of three, it's 4 wins or 1 loss. So like it's actually harder from the like basic game type setup of best of three. So um yeah, I don't know. It seems rough. Seems rough. I'll put it this way. I would have 1,000% done it if I didn't qualify for the Mythic Championship, Mythic Qualifier. I would have 1,000% done it. But um, maybe I'll take it slow leading up to that one instead.
Yeah. But
Things
yeah,
to consider.
you got in the real tournament anyway. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, I think we should move on to the next hot topic.
Yes.
Arena Alchemy. So uh, basically, like we recorded this on December 2nd, and like an hour before we started, luckily Keith let us know that they just dropped this bomb on us all of a sudden, and there's a lot here, but in a very short summary, it's like a separate arena format. It's basically standard, except two things. They're balancing cards uh, only on arena, like current standard cards. They're like rebalancing, and they're also adding cards in like a separate set. I think it's called like Arena, like Innistrad Arena or something. Uh,
Um,
so
yeah.
it's like a separate set you get like packs from. Uh, and it just has like rares in it only on arena, and I guess only for standard. I mean, I guess they go into historic too after they
Rotate.
rotate.
Yeah.
Uh, so I guess I'll start with my initial 2 cents, and I think it's fucking awesome. Uh, to be honest, I think they should have done this a long time ago. Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's like they're nerfing Epiphany, they're nerfing Chariot, they're nerfing Faceless Haven, and they're nerfing Goldspan Dragon. It's actually funny if you remember my rant on Luminarch Aspirant, they're actually nerfing that too.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that one's actually a very minor one.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, well, yeah, but you can keep going, Dave. But I don't know if they nerfed Chariot or not. Let's just talk. I mean, we can go back to that, but I don't know if they did. I
uh,
think they made it stronger.
all right, well I'll just read it. So the arena Asika's Chariot is now when it enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 green cat creature token. Green cat creature token. So it now only makes one token. uh, the other thing's the same, and then it's crew 2.
Yeah.
Uh, so the crew cost is cheaper, but it only makes one token. Uh, so it's easier to crew. I guess that's what you're referring to.
I think now you can crew it with anything. You can crew it with that stupid token off of the the Ranger. What is it? The enchantment.
Oh, the Ranger class.
Yeah, Ranger class. Ranger class can crew it. I think it's harder to crew it with 4 than it is with 2.
Yeah. I'm sure I don't disagree necessarily. I haven't wrapped my head around it, but I guess obviously the idea is if there's only one token it makes, it's easier to like hose that second ability.
Yeah.
Like mono red might love this because all of a sudden you can just shock that stupid thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
You can cook it.
uh,
And what's that one card? The blue red one that does 2 damage to target creature and destroy target artifact. It gives you all the options. What is it? Can't
Oh,
think of it.
Prismari command.
Yeah, Prismari command would hose this thing all together.
yeah. But I think regardless, uh, I think this is great because uh, no more just like it's like the set comes out and then like literally that day it's like already solved basically.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's like, oh cool, I'm gonna be looking at fucking Epiphany for the next 3 months, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so no more of that, I guess. Uh, I mean, I think, yeah, I can't get enough of this. This is great. I mean, this is I don't I don't know where I think I saw somewhere like how often they're going to be like balancing stuff, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's a step in the right direction, I think, for sure. Uh,
Yeah, based on the things that I'm seeing, sorry to jump in. I completely agree because I think like how you're saying, Dave, they should have done this a long time ago. This is sort of a way to fix instead of having to ban cards on Arena, like this, like Oak, like take Oko for example. Like that's the type of situation where like you can still keep like a key, like kind of a awesome card in theory, but it's just too powerful or too weak. And adjust it like kind of like the way any sort of like multiplayer game makes adjustments and rebalances things. I mean, in a way, rebalancing cards is sort of like the easiest thing. The thing that made rebalancing cards difficult is having to print them.
Right.
So like in the digital space, yeah, I love this too. Actually, I didn't really know what was going on with this, but yeah, I mean, I know it kind of makes the sanctity of how Magic and the tradition of Magic has always been. It kind of like I can see how the purity of the game like might bother people. Um, like that now, like, oh, a card being printed doesn't mean anything anymore, so to speak. But I think it really opens more creative space for cards because you know, they keep it as a separate format. And I think having the ability to take cards that might be, completely game breaking or degenerative, and having sort of a format where you can play with the cards you want to play with, and having sort of that like safety net of like knowing, it can always be like tinkered with ever so slightly to like make it usable again, and they still feel like the same card to me. I'm sure there will come a time where somebody makes a meme about how like this card like this isn't the same card anymore or whatever they might say. and make some sort of like, cartoon image of like the Spider-Man guy pointing at each other. You know, blah blah blah. Who knows? But I think this really does open a lot of it opens a lot for Wizards of the Coast to take more risks in making cards, which some people might not like either, because some people might not like that, like, oh, this card clearly is meant to be like a guinea pig for alchemy type thing too. Um, I can see how some people won't like it, but I also can see how this is a very logical and like, sort of like, why didn't you come up with this sooner type thing. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
excited also.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting to see how far they take it. Because
Right.
I'm sure none of us play it, but apparently Yu-Gi-Oh! Apparently they just like balance shit all the time, like
Huh.
their paper cards. Uh, so yeah, I mean it's like you look at a card and apparently it's like completely different when you actually go to play it. Uh, so there's that, but uh, I mean, who gives a shit? I mean, it's like I'm not sure what the numbers are, but uh, I know we all play Arena basically exclusively at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, the last time I played Paper was with Keith like a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
and it was fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can still do that. Nothing's changed. But it's like when we go to play Magic, I mean, we're just playing on Arena. So why not?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, keep going.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, uh, why not? Why not take advantage of the fact that it's digital and you can just change shit whenever you want? Uh,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I believe me, I'm going to be the first in line to have Epiphany nerfed, and the fact that even if you copy it, you don't create the 1/1 birds. I mean, that's awesome. They just can't make 1/1 birds every turn, or and that I love that. Um, but there is also so what happens? I mean, an archetype becomes dominant and they nerf it, then or they buff something or nerf that, do they wait for something else to pop up before they step on it again? You see what I'm saying? I mean, they might kill one monster, but another one's going to
yeah,
rear its head up. Because historically these situations are created by and I couldn't do it either. I'm not condemning them, but their lack of foresight. Their lack of foresight, these situations are created, and so they're going to go back and try and correct what they thought they messed up, which what they did with Epiphany. But when they stomp that down and buff something else, are they going to create a new monster? You know what I'm saying? I think it's good. Don't get me wrong. With I guess I'm the double-edged sword. It's just it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. And the one thing that worries me is like I'm snapped in standard, right? So I've already got you know, I know what the cards are, blah blah blah, and so now I've got a new format coming in that the cards are going to change from standard. That's just more I have to learn. So, but who knows? Maybe I'll play Alchemy exclusively because it will be on a ranked system too, from what I understand.
yeah. Um, I see what you're saying. It's I feel like that's sort of the problem with standard in general. It's like there's never like quite enough cards where uh like there's always going to be, not always, but it's like there's always going to be a deck where there's just like not quite enough answers available to
Right.
that deck. So
Mhm.
even if you just take out the current like boogeyman,
Mhm.
yeah, it's going to be pretty tricky to find a situation where there isn't a boogeyman.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, having said that, I feel like I do appreciate how they nerf these cards. Like they don't look like they're just garbage now.
Right.
Uh,
They're still playable.
yeah. So we'll see what actually changes. I feel like green is the exact same. I feel like white is the exact same. Uh, I guess Izzet took a bit of a hit, but it doesn't look that bad. Uh,
No, it doesn't. Demolek, I hate that card. He took a he actually got a little bit of a buff. He's a 4/4 now.
Nice.
there's so much words on that. I don't even feel like reading it.
I don't either.
Uh, they buffed Philith World Sculptor, but I don't see that thing like suddenly getting played unless it's in some like weird teamer thing.
hmm
But uh, I think all this is besides the point. The fact that they're doing this at all, I think, is because that's one of the problems I've had historically with Magic. It's uh, like I stopped playing when uh, Zendikar Rising came out for like a few months,
hmm
and it's like I could have missed like 2.5 months of that set being out, and it's like it would still be like basically the exact same when I came back, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So at least with this, it's like you can like check in and be like, oh, they changed whatever deck was annoying at the time, so I'll log back in, and there'll be some new annoying deck, but at least I wouldn't have seen it yet, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I think they're gonna drop like like there's gonna be the release is like 3 or 4 weeks after, something like that.
yeah,
So so it'll drop, should be dropping soon, Crimson Vow for Alchemy.
yeah.
Interesting.
Um, Actually, speaking of which, where are the? I had a tab with the cards. Where did they sneak off to?
I don't know. It's in general. Yeah, I see them. You see them?
I see some of them. I mean, they didn't put out the full list yet, but um, there's a red card, Toralf's Disciple,
Oh, I haven't seen that.
3 mana, 3/3 with haste. Whenever he attacks, conjure 4 cards named Lightning Bolt in your library, then shuffle.
Oh my.
Uh, that's pretty
Huh.
cool.
I guess so. You
That
could go
looks
get all your
busted.
lightning bolts.
Yeah,
That looks busted. Yeah, see, actually, yeah, sorry to jump in here too. I think that's the other part of this is it's actually the new cards, because that's that sort of exploratory space that they can't really do in paper Magic, because you can tell, like, conjure 4 lightning bolts, like that seems like something that might get very tedious in like an actual print format. And I'm sure there's other abilities similar but different, like destroy all creature cards in your hand perpetually get +1/+1. That might be the type of thing where it's hard to keep track of, like in
yeah,
paper, stuff like that, where, like, I feel like they're pushing the boundaries of what a card game can be by not having to be bound by the actual print limitation, I guess you call it. So
yeah,
spells cast, Captain Eberhart, spells cast from among cards you drew this turn. Like, that's one of those things too, where, like, I guess you'd be able to keep track of that in like print, where, like, you could keep it like separate from your hand if you like, you can look at them and cast them, or like, but it's one of those things where, like, cheating could get involved very easily. Like, if you were like a magician, like, you could probably take more advantage of Captain Eberhart than somebody else could. So yeah, no, it's cool. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Oh,
Damn it.
they're changing the play queue too. You see that?
No, I don't see that.
It's in the I don't know the state of the game.
Yeah, can you send me the link to the cards? I can't find like the full list. I don't know why I'm being so I'm like struggling so much.
Why you're acting like me? Is that what you said?
Oh,
There's what I'm looking at, Dave.
all right. I think I see it. Yeah.
So that it's launching in standard and historic. I didn't know it was doing both.
Yeah. Well, I guess historic is just like the collection pool for whatever like whatever's in standard just like merges over. But yeah.
Oh, the qualifier event. It says, oh, so playing alchemy and that it says as a main format, we will also be supporting alchemy with competitive events. The qualifier weekend from the December ranked season will use alchemy, and there will be an alchemy arena open in January. So if you qualify in December for the ranked season, the tournament's going to be alchemy.
Hmm. Interesting. Good. Well, that's actually another good thing. They're actually like supporting the format.
Hmm
Uh,
That's crazy.
I'm like I was gonna do a like a new like segment every podcast called Pop Quiz. I didn't get a good one today, uh, but I was gonna do one as a joke. That is, can one of you guys describe to me what the brawl format is? Uh,
I actually don't know.
is Brawl is that the one where you can only have one copy of each card?
yeah, yeah, but the other thing is, do you know how many cards are in the deck?
Um,
60, 59 other cards. It's one commander, 59 other cards.
no, it's not. No, Brawl's not EDH, right? Isn't EDH
No,
command?
it's similar to it, but it's I think it's only standard. It's the standard card pool, and it's 60 cards, but it's similar to commander in that you have a commander and you have 59 cards instead of 99 cards.
Okay, I'm going with Mike's answer.
Yeah, yeah, he's actually
I
right.
have it up in front of me.
Look at
Yeah,
that. Between the two of us, we made a complete team there. You see
I
that?
did.
Um, but yeah, it's like that's sort of my point though. It's like it Brawl is such a fucking afterthought. It's like you guys don't even it's like if I ask you guys what Commander is, you'd be like, "Oh, it's just, 100 card deck, singleton, you have a
Yeah.
Commander."
You have a
Uh,
commander zone. Yeah.
yeah, but Brawl is just this like weird thing that they would like try and like it's like you would just see it in like the events thing like once every 3 weeks and
hmm
that was it. Uh but yeah, anyway, my point is they're actually supporting this like with like real. It's like going to be like a real thing, unlike some of their other experiments. So,
Yeah. Like
uh,
that omniscience or whatever. I hate that. Have you ever played that?
no, what's it?
I,
Oh, is that the one where you can like see their hand or something?
no, that's where you don't have lands. I believe that's the one you
Oh,
don't have
you're
lands.
you're probably right. I don't. I have no idea.
But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. But
No,
no,
I think that was about it. Yeah, I mean, just in general, I'm very happy for this. Very excited. It's gonna give us a lot to talk about. Seeing how it all plays out, and who
yeah,
knows, maybe in 3 weeks we'll be complaining about how terrible they nerf they like nerf stuff in ridiculous ways and we hate it. But
yeah.
I don't know. Mike was sort of started to get on this point, like with Oko and stuff. But I feel like I feel like companions got shafted really poorly. It's like it's like those could have been awesome. They were just like, obviously busted the way they came out.
Right.
But then they just like did it like way fucking the other way where they were just like basically useless except for Loris and Gigantha, who's only used because he just like fits in whatever decks anyway.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
Yorian, I liked Yorian personally. So,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Yorian was fine for standard. I'm just going off like historic, what's like still
sure.
used. But yeah, I mean, it's like with this, they could have like actually just like, it's like they could have tried the fix that they did and then just been like, oh, well, that didn't really work. We'll just try something else.
Yeah.
It's like they wouldn't feel like obligated to like, uh, yeah, I mean, sort of like what Mike was saying, like keep things like pure, uh, and like I, I I don't know, and I see why they did that the way they did, but it's like with this coming out the way it is, I feel like they would have had much more freedom to balance them in a way that was better. So,
Yeah.
uh,
But yeah, and I think, and to go back to your brawl, statement is like Commander. I know that if anybody from TikTok's on or watching or will be watching, Commander's a huge community, and I don't understand why. Arena would be a perfect format for that. For Commander, maybe it's the amount of cards that's required. I don't know. Um, but it's really a huge community. I can't imagine why they don't have that supported in Arena yet. You know?
um, that was actually one of my podcast talking points. I was gonna save it for a separate one, but
Oh, I'm sorry, but
no,
we
no,
can
no,
do that
it's
later.
yeah. I mean, maybe we can have like a dedicated episode, but yeah, I completely agree. Um, I and it's like you were saying there might not be enough cards, but I say who cares,
Yeah,
Uh,
you
like
build it. I guess you could, like they're doing with this, alchemy. It'll just in a year from now, it'll be huge. You
right,
know?
yeah. I mean, it'll fill up quicker than that. Like people might say there's not enough cards now, but it'll fill up pretty quick. I feel like so. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like everybody knows what commander is. Like, why not just put it in and just call it like arena commander? You know?
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, to me, it's something that just seems like it just seems like so easy. It's like they wouldn't even have to do anything. Just get rid of brawl. No one plays it anyway.
Yeah.
Just put in commander and
Change the deck size.
yeah,
That's really it. So.
yeah.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that. I'm sorry, I didn't want
No,
to.
no, that's fine. Um, all right. Well, is there anything else as far as alchemy goes for now?
No, I'm. I think we don't know too much about it yet. We might have to see it in action,
Yeah,
see if
Yeah.
our minds completely flip. But in time,
yeah, um,
Yeah.
yeah. It'll be interesting. I mean, I would be surprised if our opinions change, but uh, you never know. You never know with fucking magic. Uh,
No, no, you never know what to expect.
yeah. So yeah, I guess that's about it for that. Um, so the other thing we were going to talk about, which Keith also uh, informed me of, Mike. I don't know if you heard any of this yet, but apparently proxy use in paper is a very hot topic on TikTok.
okay.
Uh,
I
and
said okay.
apparently, and I'm very surprised they're against proxy use.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
it's mixed. I mean, it's what I'm getting is, some of the store owners are against it. And then, some of the players are against it, because and the whole reasoning, and I'm sorry I just jumped on it, but their whole reasoning is that for those against it are you shouldn't be able to play with the cards if you don't own them. You know what I mean? And then, of course, if you're getting into Commander, this is where it's all coming in at, that some of those cards aren't cheap. So, I mean, it's
Hmm.
it's a two-sided thing, it's like, the guy that's wanting to play or, that doesn't have the cash or the funds to dump, a grand or two into a deck, they want to play with proxies. So, I mean, what do you guys think? You know?
well, I have a bit of I have a bit of a tirade, and it's funny because this was actually something else I was thinking of as like a whole like episode, but we can we can definitely at least touch on it. And I have a few comments. Uh, the I tried to make a commander deck, I guess like sometime last year, and yeah, I mean there's a couple problems. The first problem is there's some cards in Commander that are just, I mean they're just too fucking expensive. It's like a Gaia's Cradle, which just makes any like basically any green deck just like insanely better.
Yeah,
It's like I don't know what it is, but it was like $300.
I know, and I sold mine for cheap, dude. That was before Commander came out. But go ahead.
And it's just like that's like ridiculous. It's like it just like yeah, it's $850. It's just like insane to me
Why did you
that
tell me that?
why'd you sell it for like $10 back in
Well, it's like a
the day?
hundred. It's like 100, but still, that's nothing. But go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like what do you expect people to do? Like spend $850 on a square? Uh,
That's
I,
right.
I don't know. It that just doesn't like sit well with me. And it's like any day, like you could buy one of these, and then the next day Watsy be like, "Oh hey, we're reprinting Gaia's Cradle. Uh, see ya,"
Yeah.
and then it drops down to like $100. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, the new master set's coming out. Guess what's in it? Yeah, that's how it happens. That's what
yeah.
happens.
Uh, and I don't know. I mean, it's like one of the memes for Watsy these days is like that whole like this product is not for you thing. And I guess Gaia's Cradle just isn't a product for me, which it's fine, whatever. But it's like that whole thing. Uh, it really it really eats into my interest of playing Commander because now it's like, do I spend
Mhm.
$850 on a fucking card, or do I
Right.
just print a paper proxy of it and not think, you know? Uh, and ironically, I actually do have a proxy of this.
Mm,
Uh,
I don't blame you.
yeah, I mean, it's like, why not? I'm not spending $850 on a fucking paper square.
No,
Uh,
I'm not either.
I mean, some people might, I guess. Uh, so I guess the other that sort of segues into my next point, which actually is about proxies. And I'm not really for or against proxies. I feel like there should just be like a fucking like written rule
Mm.
somewhere. Like you can use 30 proxies in any deck.
Yeah,
And then, if you use 31, you can't. That's against whatever rule.
right.
But 30, whatever the fuck you want, have fun.
Yeah,
But
and go ahead,
no,
Dave.
no, no, it's fine. I've ranted enough. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. So these LGSs, I know, and I believe in supporting them. I mean, if you're going to play paper, you are to support your store. But I agree. There's got to be a give and take. Do they run the customers out that want to come in and play because they don't have 100% cards? They're running proxies. So maybe that is the case. You say, hey, our Commander League, this is the rules. 30 proxies, that's a good idea. 30 proxies, that's the max you can have. If you can't build a deck for that, you'll just have the deck you want for that, you'll have to build the deck you can. You know what I mean? And go with there and then have everybody sign on to it, because he's making more money. The LGS is making more money by people coming there spending money. You know what I mean? When I go to the game store, I spend money. I'm not, even if I'm there to just play, I spend money. So that's why my wife doesn't want me to go there. So that's how
Yeah.
it works. And I mean, so I think there's got to be a common thing there, and I know that, like, in the community, there's all different income levels of players. Some guys are in college, some guys are kids, and some guys are my age, that can buy some of the more expensive cars. But I'm not buying them at Gaius Cradle, and I wish I had mine back. But that's how it is. So I'm for proxies, but I like what you said, Dave. Put a limit on it. I agree with that.
Yeah, and I don't. I guess I should clarify a bit here. Uh, apparently there is CEDH, which is like the competitive EDH,
Mhm.
and they allow 100 proxies in a deck. They don't give a shit, which is good. I mean,
That is good.
especially if you're playing competitive, because I can't even imagine. Like, if you're playing a 5 color deck, that means you need every dual land, like the original. You need every fetch land. Uh, so right there, I mean, that's what, like $4,000, $3,000.
Yeah,
Oh, it's probably more than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
yeah, it
So
is.
so that, I mean, that's great and that's fine. They have that rule and that's what they're sticking with. But I feel like there should just be um, like, if I just want to make a deck to just like fuck around, it's
Yeah.
like uh, it's like, on one hand, if I'm just fucking around, do I need a guy's cradle? Not really, but uh, it's like, what if you want one?
Yeah.
Should you feel
Yeah.
bad? Uh, so
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. And maybe it should evolve to, like, I don't know what their Friday night magic leagues are like, or their standard leagues. I'm not even talking competitive. I'm just, in-store gaming. Maybe they should allow a little bit of proxy action there too. You know what I mean? It's just, I
right,
think it would make it more fun. It's like everybody, yeah, you got a 3 proxy limit or a 4 proxy limit, for Friday Night Magic.
yeah,
It might make things interesting.
yeah.
The
I think my 30 number was a little. I think that's a little much, but I mean, it doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah, if CEDH is doing 100, then that's
Yeah, I mean, whether it's 1 or 5 or 10, like, I just want to be able to, like, if I make a deck, I don't want to have to worry about like feeling bad because I use like one too many proxies or something.
right.
Uh,
Yeah,
so
or your deck wasn't competitive because you didn't have the cards for it. You know what I mean?
right, yeah, and it's like, me personally, like, I know the thing is with EDH. Apparently, it's always just like, talk to the people you're about to like play with, uh, just so everybody's on the same page.
Mm.
Which is, it's fine, but I just feel like uh, there should just be, something to work with when you get started. That's
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, I agree.
that's the summation of that, I guess.
Yeah, and we all spend money on our hobbies, whether it's golf, you know, adult league softball, whatever it is. I mean, we spend money on our hobbies. So, it's
Yeah.
just, but yeah, I don't see $800 on a cradle though. I'm not doing it. I'll print a proxy all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I have Uh, I think I have proxies for all the dual lands and then all the fetch lands. And then I know I did some of the other lands. Like I know I did Gaia's Cradle. I don't know which other ones, but uh, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, so the arguments you were seeing, like, so the arguments you were seeing against them were just like sort of like in protection of the local game stores and
Yeah,
the
yeah. The one that really stuck out at me was a girl was saying that the LGS told her that she could not play her deck with proxies if she didn't own the cards because she didn't own the cards. And then her statement, I won't reiterate her statement, but it was basically because I am a anal first class. She said, here are my books, and she started flipping the pages. She said, I do own the cards, and her point was, and I get this too. She didn't want to play with them,
oh
you
yeah.
know. So
Uh,
that's the other side of it. You got a cards or deck that's worth several grand. Do you want to take it out and for some kid to spill their Mountain Dew on?
oh
you know?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, and it's like for people like living in like cities, you're gonna be like on like a subway with like a backpack with like $5,000 of like cards in it. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
and if somebody steals it, well, nowadays they would know what to do with it, but years
yeah.
ago they just thrown it away. They'd be like, "What is this crap?" Okay, so,
Yeah, what's this guy's cradle thing? I'm just gonna fucking throw this out.
yeah,
It's not even a
yeah,
shiny one.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, what's this
that's
Black
interesting.
Lotus crap? Is he
Yeah,
Gandhi? What is it?
Yeah, it's all like old looking and shitty.
Yeah,
Fuck this
yeah.
thing.
yeah, that's rough. I come from a world where the top common in a given set gives me joy. And you guys are talking about proxies of like $1,000 cards. Yeah, it's that I mean it sounds like from being the outsider looking in from like this whole topic, I could definitely see all the different points of view. I mean, I think the that classic term slippery slope, I can see how there would be like an economic concern of people buying cards, I guess. Um, I know Commander is a popular format, but I also know it's not the most popular, but I know
Right.
it's popular enough where I think people can see how, sales would dip from like either like a full proxy rule or not, or like 50% proxy rule or not. Um, I don't know. I mean, just kind of like how there's like a reserve list for like vintage and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like there's certain cards that is there a reason why the Gaia's Cradle is the hot button card? Is there something I'm missing here?
No,
Or
not
or is
really.
that just like, oh, okay. So like um yeah, I mean, like, I don't think it's really possible for everybody to have like a like Tundra or some or a Bayou, or whatever like the dual lands are from like 20 years ago or 30 years ago actually. It's not really possible. um and I think you got to strike that balance of wanting people to be interested in playing the format so they will buy cards over time, but also not sort of cheapening the essence of and the purity of buying cards and owning them. I can also see how. Now, I don't know. Again, I actually don't know if you guys are talking about like sanctioned tournaments through local game stores or not, or if you just mean like casual play in a local game store.
Well,
Um,
I, I'm not like a serious commander player by any means, but uh, apparently there's like a committee, like a commander committee, separate from WotC, and that's
Huh.
why proxies are like allowed in
Huh.
competitive EDH. Uh,
Okay.
as far as like local stuff, uh, I'm not really sure what the deal is. It's been a while since we've been to our RLGS.
Same here.
Yeah.
uh,
My wife won't let me get.
but this actually segues into my next point pretty nicely. I would be fine. Uh, like what would your guys' cutoff be for buying a card?
Hmm.
Like 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 if a Tundra was $100, would you buy one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I would do $100. Like I think that's
Oh
fair.
yeah. I feel yeah, I mean before you go further with your thing with the questions, yeah, I feel like again, I think we're getting into the economic part. Like any card that you know is going to rise in value, um, like from like a purely economic investment standpoint, yeah, I would buy that for $100.
Well, sorry, I should have clarified a bit. I guess my point is like not if they what like taking like the investment side out of it. Uh,
Okay.
like I guess what I'm getting at is if they I'm one of the people in the camp where I think they should get rid of the reserve list like immediately. Uh, but it's like they still have like control over how much a card costs. Like they wouldn't just print like a billion tundras. They would make it like a slow drip in packs that are like, whatever, like $30 each. They would still be expensive, but they would reprint them. So it's like having that in mind. If they did start like reprinting tundras and they were like $100, would you get one? Like I would.
Yeah, because I think like how you mentioned, the original dual lands are strictly better than any dual land that they ever print afterwards. So yeah, from a purely gameplay maximization standpoint, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Would you do like $200? Like I don't think I would go that high.
I'm going to
Uh,
tell you right now, my wife would tell me no.
well,
But
there's
yeah,
there's our answer. We're
yeah,
we're all
no,
gonna
but
listen to Keith's wife.
yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it depends on what it is, doesn't it? I mean, that's where it all comes down to, you know. I mean, it's just that's just to me. It depends on what it is, and what am I if here's the situation, and let me put it to you this way: if it was a world that I was in competitive Magic, going to tournaments, and I needed the card for the tournament, and I'm doing well enough that I'm making money, so to speak, at the tournaments, then yeah, I see putting 200 in because it's like it's a tool for your trade, right? Um,
Right.
but if it's me collecting, yeah, I could see doing it too. But on the other side of the coin, if it's just for something that I want to buy to put into a deck to play with, no, I'm not going to spend that money. That's me.
Right. Yeah, think we're on the same page with that. Um, so like if you were making just like a commander deck, uh, I don't know who a blue white commander is, but if you were making a blue white commander deck and you needed a tundra in that situation where they were $200, you would just print one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, I think I would just I would proxy it up.
Yeah. Like if it was $100, I'd be like, all right, I'll just if it was $100 and I knew I was gonna play it, I would get one.
Mm, yeah.
$200, no, that's too much.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. And it all depends about.
And that's not helping the local game store anyway. You're not gonna buy one at the fucking local game store.
That's
No,
true.
no. I'm going to buy packs
Unless
at the local game store.
Yeah,
Right.
unless they promise some sort of like price match thing or something.
Right. Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, that's true.
And they have it in stock. That's the other thing. They got to have it in stock.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a blue white, here it is. Raf Capsian is a blue white commander.
Yeah, I'll check out
Chips
all.
mage. And it lets you cast historic spells as if they have flash.
Oh yeah, I know that. Is that a Dominaria card?
I think it is. Yes, it is.
Raf Capat. Yeah, I know the card you're talking about. I faintly
Capsians,
remember the name.
yeah. There, I pulled one up for you.
I'm on yeah, I mean, whatever. I was looking at EDH Rec, and I don't see the one you guys are talking about.
Maybe it's
But
not on there then.
I looked it up and the search because I didn't write the name right. It came up raw capsaicin, so I'm looking up like cayenne peppers.
um,
All
Here's
right, I found
another
it now.
commander. Grand Arbiter.
well, Yorion's that's a blue white commander.
Daggone right he is.
Yeah, your boy. The
Yeah. Oh boy. I love that card. Well, so here's
Yeah.
another one. Grand Arbiter, Augustine the fifth, sixth. What is IB in Roman numerals?
IV. That's
Yeah.
4.
Oh, is it? Okay, then it's the fourth.
Yeah, because the little if the smaller letters in front, it's you subtract it.
Ah,
We're learning a lot today.
Yeah.
where can you get this at, right?
Yeah. What?
That's this content.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is high quality shit. Uh, well, since we're talking about commanders and commander, I did I had like a phase where I was like tirelessly trying to make fucking commander decks, and it's like a real pain in the ass.
Mm,
Like you go from arena where like you can build a deck in like literally like a minute, uh,
yeah.
but like with paper, people are gonna like groan at this, but it's like with paper, it's like you have to like search through your like massive fucking library for like random cards. It's like you don't even know what you have anymore because it's like there's so many fucking cards in this like massive thing.
Oh,
So I like sorted them, and so it's like it makes it a little easier, but then it's like even then, it just takes so fucking long. I just gave up between that and like the whole like it, the whole thing of like wondering, am I gonna like buy like am I gonna buy like a $10 card, or am I gonna proxy it? Well, I could just buy it, but then there's like five $10 cards, so it's like $50 all of a sudden. Uh,
mm,
so it's like I could just proxy them for free instead of
yeah.
spending $50 on this thing I don't even know if I'm gonna use because of fucking COVID. Uh, so
The truth. Yeah.
yeah, so I just fucking gave up, which is why they just need to put it on Arena, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, what do you think's going to happen? I mean, if the popularity of Arena grows, what do you think's going to happen to paper?
well, I think there was a very interesting interview between Mark Rosewater and I forget his name, but the Tulare Community College guy.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah.
they were talking, and Mark Rosewater, he was like very I forget what he said exactly, but uh, the guy just like straight up asked him like what's going on with paper, like is it staying or are you guys like getting rid of it? and he said they have no. I forget what he said exactly, but it was like they had no plans of getting rid of paper, but they didn't say they're not getting rid of paper, if that
Right.
makes sense. I feel like he
Yeah.
worded it in a way where they're sort of gonna they're basically just gonna let the where the money is decide, because if everybody's just suddenly on Arena, they're not gonna, what's the point of keeping
Yeah.
paper around, you know?
Yeah. Well, they said if you saw that talking about alchemy, that's a million games. Is it a million games an hour that's taking place on Arena? Was that the number
That's
they threw
crazy.
up? Yeah, it was astronomical. So if you're looking like that and you have that many players on there, and let's just say they dump $70 a season, I don't know what the subscriber list is like for Arena, but if they drop $20 a season, is that's more than I've spent on paper in the
Yeah.
past year. I mean, I'll buy a pack here and there, but I'm not collecting.
Yeah. Um, I I mean, I feel like it's inevitable. I mean, at some point, uh, I just I don't see how paper would stick around long term. It probably won't be 5 years from now. It probably won't be 10 years from now. But I mean, at some point,
Mm.
uh,
Yeah. Well, I mean, has anyone here played Arena on their phone? I haven't done it yet. Have you?
it's a little. I, I wouldn't do it by choice.
Mm.
Uh, if I was just trying to if I was just trying to shit out whatever, the first win of the day or whatever.
Mhm.
But I don't know. It's fine. It's just sort of there. But I would definitely stick to the computer.
Okay. I was just curious. I haven't tried it.
Yeah, I think I would never play like a ranked limited match on it. There are some things playing on the phone that make it a little problematic. I feel like when you start getting a lot of lands and they start stacking them on top of each other, sometimes it's hard to tell how many lands you actually have.
Mm.
There are certain things I think um, that are kind of troublesome with the interface, but it's not awful. I mean, if I was trying to, yeah, like how Church said, if you were trying to finish like a daily quest or something like that, it's not so bad.
Mm. Okay.
But
I'll just avoid it then. Yeah, for horsing around, it's okay, but not
yeah,
playing.
horsing around is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If you were I don't know. I guess you don't go into work much these days, but if you were going in and you were just eating lunch, just sitting there, you could just whip it out on your phone or something. But
Don't say that. I don't want to
uh,
put it out on my phone, but yeah.
yeah, I guess I could have went several different ways, but
Yeah, yeah, but I know what you're saying. Yeah. You could just get it out and play during lunch or
yeah,
on a break. Yeah.
yeah,
That's not and that's something to consider. So, but yeah, I was just curious. I haven't tried it, and I was wondering how well it was.
yeah. Um, I know we did a lot of shitting on of paper, but I would just like to say uh, I remember many more paper games than I do arena games.
Yeah.
Like I remember pretty vividly us playing last, and that was like a year and a half ago with like random cards that we both had,
Yeah.
you know. And I remember when we played, with that guy, you work
Yeah.
with. Uh,
Approaching the second son guy.
yeah,
This is, yeah.
uh, yeah. It's like I personally get the most joy out of Magic when it's like the human interaction.
Right.
Uh, that's like where my real like enjoyment out of Magic comes from.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like that's one of the issues with Arena that's like completely taken out of the picture.
Yeah, it is.
So I did a lot of shitting on a paper, but I I do really enjoy it. So uh, I don't know. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
uh,
like paper too. Yeah, I do. I mean, I love cracking packs. I mean, that's and what Magic player doesn't, and that's
Yeah.
I'm with you. I like cracking real packs instead of on Arena. That's just a more
yeah.
of an enjoyment. So,
Um, although
and I
that
think, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that that might take an interesting turn if Arena Alchemy gets too big,
Yeah,
because all of a sudden you're gonna be looking at cards and be like, well, wait, how does this one actually work again? Uh,
yeah, that's gonna be crazy.
yes, and they've said it's like a thing exclusive to Arena, but I mean, with all the people on Arena, I mean, it's like for people like us, we're gonna know what the Arena like fix is for whatever card we crack. So, uh,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess this whole thing might be like the real test of like which is more dominant, like the paper, like classic, whatever's on the card. Like it's either banned or it's what it says it is.
right. Yeah,
Or the arena player where it's like, well, we have this fixed version of it, but it's not the original. So maybe that's what their goal is to like see who comes out on top in terms of popularity, and then they'll just stick with that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can
Yeah, it's
see it.
hard to say.
It's gonna be interesting. I think. I really do.
Yeah.
Here's and I'm gonna go back to this because we were talking about paper. So, do you guys remember the championship decks?
No.
I think you have one, right?
I have several. Yeah, I've got like 4 or 5. And so, like after the worlds or whatever, they would print the decks, right? And so the only difference would be is they would be gold bordered and the backs would be different. And so
Nice.
here is a gold border Gaia's Cradle, world champion deck card. And then this is a reprint, and it's not at the time it wasn't legal for gameplay. I don't know if it still is. $283
Wait,
on the reprint.
is that the one you sold?
No, I sold the real one.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
So
that's
now that makes me wonder what I've got up there that might be worth something in my world championship decks. I've got like 3 or 4 of them. One's a
uh,
white.
yeah. You should probably go up there like tonight and see what kind
Don't
of
tell my don't
treasure
tell my
chest.
wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but
uh,
that's just curious. I mean, that's yeah. I didn't know that these world championship decks were going for anything.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's like I mean, I'm sure it's just like the collector value. Like I'm sure, and I mean, it's not legal for gameplay, but it is still like an official printed Gaia's Cradle. you know. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it.
And there's probably less of these printed than there was the original Guy's Cradle, you know?
Yeah, right.
Curious. Yeah, I have to
That's
pull those
interesting.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Old Dragon Ball Z pre-con too. That's pretty interesting. I thought about that the other day. Pull it out. It's probably worth nothing.
uh, yeah, Dragon Ball Z. That's I don't know. You don't hear too much about those, but that is like a popular like thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it might be worth something.
Nah. Probably, probably
Uh,
not.
yeah, I somewhat recently actually went through my Pokemon collection.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, fun.
yeah, and I have a whole shitload of first edition cards.
You got some
Uh,
Charizard?
I do. It's actually in good shape, and it's shadowless. Uh, it's not
So
like the original, but it's like the one right after that. Uh, so it would be I oh that's edition one. What's the I mean last time I looked it
Where
up, it was like it was at least a few hundred. Yeah, yeah, right here it says it would be like $500.
yeah, they're
oh
outrageous, man.
where's that card in the house? I'm gonna go borrow it.
He's gonna go buy Gaia's Cradle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go take my my Tundra and my Bayou and the Charizard, and I'm gonna go upgrade it.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So it's $500 the Charizard. That's not bad.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you not have any, Mike?
Uh, I don't think I might have bought them, but I think any cards that I would have bought are probably in Dave's just congregate of cards.
Yeah, but
Um,
Pokemon was sort of my wheelhouse. Uh, like basically all of our old Magic cards were like his and our older brothers. Uh,
and some of Jared's.
yeah,
But actually, if I'm being honest though, he never had all of the super expensive cards actually were Josh's, so I don't feel that bad about it. Like the two dual lands were both Josh's, so
right.
it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
I'm guilt free.
That's right. It's all about living guilt free.
yeah. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, having said all this, I still wouldn't care if they reprinted, like if they got rid of the reserve list. Uh,
No, it wouldn't bother me. I mean, the guys with the Black Lotuses wouldn't be happy, but yeah.
yeah. I mean, it just seems so. The whole thing just seems so arbitrary. Like, why are they sticking to that? I feel that this is like tinfoil hat territory, but I feel like they're sticking to that because they want Arena to get bigger.
Maybe.
Because it's like, well, like we're gonna make some like uh like some random collectors upset. Like, I mean, they're like what they're doing. I feel like that's her like that. Like, I feel like their push towards Arena is like a bigger fuck you to paper than getting rid of the reserve list would be,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's just you know, it's like people have been talking about the reserve list for like literally like 25 years now, or however long it's been. So it's like I don't know. I guess, but
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, and it all goes back to why I like playing Arena. It's just the convenience of it and the economy of it. So now that's the other side of the coin, though. I mean, are they going to be able to? And I don't know what everyone else spends on it. You know, I've spent more this season than I have ever. I spent $50 on it, right? So is the economy fit to where they're making more money off Arena than they are anything else? You know what I mean? That's the curiousness of it. You know what I mean? It's all about e-gaming too, though. So is e-gaming going to take over, the big venue tournaments? All of a sudden they don't have to rent a venue anymore. They can just pop everybody on a console, and if they want to be there in person, they can be. But it's just, I don't know. It's going towards something. What, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's hard for us to just like sit here and like try and run through the math, but like a pack on Arena, it's like $2, right? If I remember right.
Like the gyms, yeah,
I
I
I, I
get.
think it comes out to like $2 a pack. And that's like straight profit. Like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
like maybe they lose out on like 5 cents from like, server uh like whatever, electricity.
yeah,
Uh
yeah,
so that's like a lot of fucking money. Whereas a pack, I mean it's still just like paper squares.
yeah. But it still doesn't pay for the wrapper.
Yeah.
5 cents probably doesn't pay for the wrapper.
Yeah, so uh
And they're in two wrappers now, the cardboard and the full, right?
yeah.
So
Yep.
Uh
Oh yeah. Speaking of Arena, don't want to divert attention. There's a free 100 gems in the Arena store right now.
oh, let me do that real quick.
Yeah, you
oh
pay
yeah.
300 for 400 gems.
Yeah, let me go get those free gems,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah. Now's the time.
Yeah, so if you run this right, you only have to, like, if you pay for the mastery pass, you only have to do it every other or every third season because you get all the free gems. But you play drafts. I don't even use my draft tokens. I still got them sitting up. I haven't even used them.
Mm. Yeah, one of these days I'll mow through those.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just accumulating them. I tried one, like, after I talked to you, I tried one draft and I was like, forget it, I'm done. I was like, there's just
Yeah,
no
it's
need.
it's definitely a nightmare going into it, like not, knowing what's going on for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's actually that's like exactly my hesitancy, I guess is the word. Because it's like, yeah, it's like you go on Reddit and you see like, oh, this guy's going infinite, and then you see all the comments about how everybody else is going infinite, like in drafting, and then it's like, oh, I'll just go infinite too, and I'll never have to spend gems again because I'll just be making gems, uh, and then it doesn't work.
No,
Uh,
that never works for me.
yeah, so uh,
Yeah, it's a rough life being a limited player. Yeah, I think I think there's a way to get like close to being infinite. Okay, in theory it's impossible to be exclusively best of 1 and go infinite. You can go infinite on best of 3 though. Like people actually do it, but
right.
obviously you still need to be good enough to do it. But best of 1 makes it impossible, and of course best of 1 is the one that gives you like the prestige and the badges. So it's rough. It's a rough game to get sucked into trying to go infinite. So yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, I got my tokens.
Yeah, I got
I mean,
mine
my
too.
gems. Yeah,
We're all 100 gems richer now.
yeah, that's right.
Oh, I spent gold on mine. Was that a mistake?
No, that's
Oh,
oh
probably not.
yeah, that's what I did.
Probably,
I spent gold on mine too.
yeah.
But I've got like over 100. That's the reason when you were talking about the tournament, Dave, I was like, huh, that doesn't sound bad. And then when I found out I was drafted, I'm like, nah, I'm not wasting my money. wasting it. I'll save it. I'll crack
Yeah.
packs with it.
I actually had we can wrap it up here if you guys want.
Okay,
Uh,
that's fine.
yeah, we're at like we're at over an hour and a half. So uh, yeah, I think we're square.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
any
We've kind of diverted, but
yeah.
yeah. Well, what's the next? Let's do this. What's the next updates on Mike? When's the tournament?
The Mythic Qualifier is December 18th and 19th.
Oh, we got a little bit then. Well, if
And
you,
it
I was thinking that maybe you don't want to stream it. Maybe even though you're on a 5 minute delay, they still see your deck, right? I mean, the deck you played on the game before, you know?
Right. I mean, they would see your draft and stuff. I mean, honestly, I know if we streamed it live, like we wouldn't have that many viewers, but you gotta figure it's a hyper competitive thing. There's only so many streamers on MTG at a given time. I mean, I'm sure people look you up if they can, and I'm sure they would.
Yeah,
I'm
they
not
will.
saying everybody would snipe, of course, but I'm sure people do, and it would not surprise me. So I would probably feel more comfortable not streaming it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm with you. It'd be
Um,
better just to record it and post it afterwards. Yeah.
yeah, I think that makes sense as well.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think if you're streaming, even though, like you said, even if you didn't, stream your draft, you got into gameplay, you could be 3 games in and the guy can go back and look at your deck, I mean, it's,
For sure.
yeah, so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, yeah, we can play that by ear. I guess the other thing, and this doesn't really affect Mike, but there is that free tournament from the Degenerate Gaming, I believe the
yep.
name is, and that's actually the same day. It's
When, when is that?
I think it's the 18th.
Is it the
I
18th?
think so.
I thought it was this weekend. Am I wrong?
Unless it was,
Let's see.
yeah, I think it was the 18th.
Did you text that to me or email it?
I think it was a text.
Oh, let me look at my phone.
Yeah, December 18th.
Oh, it's so
So
same week. So I'll probably do that.
yeah, so yeah, I'll probably do it too. I mean, I'll probably suck at it, but whatever, it's fine.
Go.
Yeah,
Let's suck together.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a free tournament. Uh,
Yeah,
so yeah, I mean, can't hurt.
yeah,
Uh,
it is. So
Yeah.
registration is tomorrow, right?
oh, is it?
Sign up start on Friday. It's free to enter. It did give a date, but that was like, yeah, so I think the sign up starts tomorrow for that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll have to make a note to do it up.
Yeah. So that'll be 6 a.m. our time.
Like if it's 9 a.m. PST, I think that's noon for us.
Is that? Oh, yes, that is noon for us. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Th-
that's not bad.
That's not bad. It's not bad at all.
Yeah. Um. All right. So yeah, I think that about does it for today.
Yeah.
So any final words?
Yeah, I'm wondering if I should play in the Arena Open this weekend.
Well, you should check out this video on YouTube and rewind it to when I bashed it and when you guys said you might try it, and then Keith backpedaled and said he wouldn't because it's draft.
Oh,
Uh,
I think you should. You just got 100 free gems. Why not?
Yeah, oh yeah, the 100 free. Yeah, that'll go towards the 5,000 gem entry fee.
Yeah, it's basically free all of a sudden. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It put it to you this way: if I were you, I would.
The only thing I will say about it is, I mean, I have the gems. I have enough to do it. It might be good to sort of get that like high pressure magic match feeling going
before
for
the
the next
tournament.
one.
Hmm.
Yeah, and actually, I mean, technically, I think the Arena Open is technically bigger, sort of thing. I know for me, because it's not earned, it's like being bought into. It won't feel as important as the other one is. But it still might be like sort of like that, like, oh, you're pretty much only going against like, either mythic level players, which, when I think that I'm mythic and I made top 1200, it sounds kind of like a joke to me. But I know like you're pretty much you're going against people that you have to assume no mistakes are going to be made, very minor punts at best, and probably they know what they're doing drafting in a rough sense. I do think there will obviously be slightly more casual people that are in this one, uh, but it'll still feel like higher stakes. So I
Yeah.
can see an argument for doing it only because they don't generally do mythic qualifiers in limited. So, um, it'll be a pretty intense experience, I think, doing the draft and being like, oh no, this is the draft.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Um,
think it's a good. I think it's a good ramp up.
Yeah, we'll see. I actually don't know if I'll have the time to be able to play the Arena Open. Like, I don't know if I can commit to the 2-day thing. Like, if you're playing day one, you have to assume that you're able to play day two. So I might not for that. That's probably the real defining factor for this. So
Yeah,
we'll
make
see.
it. And if you do make day two, you got to play it. It's not
Right.
like you're gonna make day two and like, not gonna do it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I slept in. Day
Yeah.
one was too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
Uh,
yeah, I don't.
we'll see.
I understand. It's a quandary, but that's
yeah.
like
Sure
if
is.
you do this December 18th, which it'll probably be a lot of streamers in it for us, and Dave and I get into it, and yeah, if you make it past day one, you got to play the second day. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And what's day two? Just like the same thing, just like a new deck, I guess.
No, I think it's same
Um,
deck, but it'll be like you get to top eights or something like that. I bet that's
yeah, I'm
what
looking
that's
to
what they
see.
typically do, but it may not be. It may be all one day. We'll have to see it when they post it tomorrow on MTG Melee to see what it says.
Um,
It
all
Did you
sounds
right.
like
get
it's
your
best of
account?
three. I think it's best of three. Oh wait, hold on a second.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
best of
it's
three.
best of three, but it's still 7 wins or three. So it's like 7 wins or 3 losses. And it's like that both days. That's intense.
That is
Right, but
intense.
it is like a new draft, right? Or
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's not a draft though,
It's a
is it?
draft on both. Yeah.
For oh, you're talking about you on you.
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I thought he was talking about us. What
Oh
we
yeah,
were looking at.
you guys are gonna draft my decks.
No, we're not. Hey,
No, no, I know.
you know what? I have this neat little app called Untapped that I'd be curious to draft what it would draft versus what you draft.
Oh, it has like an
Yeah.
auto draft thing.
Well, it has a power ranking on the draft.
Well, apparent according to Mike, the man of pedigree, those things are like not garbage, but I personally put way too much emphasis on stuff like that. Apparently,
Yeah, yeah, same here. I probably do
Well,
too.
yeah, I don't want to sound ignorant or anything like that because I know we're dealing with LSV, Luis Scott Vargas. I feel like the numbers, the grades on the Untapped, at least on the overlay that they put on Arena, I don't think they update those. So those are his like pre-draft grades. So they're a little outdated.
Ah, good
Um,
point.
Yeah, so I feel like it's hard to trust those
Yeah.
from an evaluation standpoint this far into a format.
Yeah.
It's obviously good for new players because it's sort of, I mean, I'm sure there's some some cards that are like probably wildly different if like they fit into a certain archetype or something. But in a general sense, a card that's a 3 is probably either a 3.5 or a 2, 2.5. So I don't think the range is that far, but there's a lot of times that newer players seem to ask because they're like, "Oh, this card's a 3. Why is this card so low? Everybody talks about it all the time." And it's like, "Oh, because those were pre-draft grades type thing." So,
That's before they got out and everyone started interacting with them. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, the other thing, I mean, I'm not bashing the grades. I'm just more bashing my interpretation of the grades. Because like the last time I drafted was like when I was streaming like last year, and like all I would do is I would just like look at the pack, go on the pick one, pack one, pick whatever one was the highest, and then just go to the next pack and pick whichever one was the highest that matched that color. And then I would just do that for my whole deck, you
And
know.
how'd that work?
Not it wasn't a disaster, but it basically was a disaster. So, uh,
Yeah, that
yeah,
that was the one draft I did that I told you, after talking to Mike, I said, well, I'll try a draft. Well, I didn't even know that they had those overlays. And so I went through there and and I I read the cards and I just went with the ones I thought were the best. And I looked at the power rankings too. And then some of them I was like, why is that one ranked so high? It sucks. But anyway, so but I went with my gut. I Long story short, I won 2, lost 3. So that's like, forget it. If I can't even do it with this stupid app helping me, I'm not gonna even worry about it.
that's actually, I mean, going 2 and 3, that's not bad.
No, it's not, but still, it's yeah. I like standard.
yeah. Well, I feel like in drafts, if I can get 2 wins and 3 losses, I consider that like a massive victory.
Mm.
I feel like
Yeah,
that's like the cutoff where I don't feel bad anymore.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, like because going 0-3 or 1-3, that's like when I just I like go off the rails. Uh, so
Yeah, I mean, this would not be the set for you then because this set, I mean, you can just have like a set of 3 games in a row where like they just played a bomb on curve,
yeah.
and you might only get like mana screwed in one of those 3 games. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, no,
Yeah, well,
the set is the Wild West.
it is. Well, even in standard, it's drifting in there. It's just like I was playing that Izza deck, and I thought, oh, I got everything under control. The board's clear. I've got stuff on. I'm getting ready to take the game over. Then 2 turns later, I'm scooping up because I'm getting whooped. And it's like, what the world just happened? It's like, but
Yeah,
it's like that. What's that green creature? That something of the Ulven Weld or whatever. That thing's
Mm,
nasty, man.
oh, Ulvenwald Oddity.
Yes, that thing is
Yeah,
nasty.
yeah,
Um,
it's a nice little card.
mhm. Yeah, I need to put it in my mono green deck. But yeah,
Yeah,
he's nasty. He hits the board, he makes a difference.
yeah,
mm-hmm.
it's a good one.
All right. I think we
Tied
can
up.
tie the ribbon on this fine little chit chat. Uh, so all right. Until next time. That was Manic Vandals podcast number 6. We will see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.